Okay, if you want to follow along, we're using lesson 10, and the book is wanting us to view samples. So what you want to do is go ahead to the music bin. You can click the arrow here, drops open, and you'll want the graceful tenure. You want to double click this one, and then it's going to appear over here in the source. So it's not working in the timeline, it's appearing in the source window. And notice as I double click this, it's different than the audio files that we've done in the past. In the past, we've had, video files, I apologize. So we've worked with these clips down here before, and when you double click them from the project, you see video here first. However, this here is an audio clip, so you're only seeing the waveform. And you can use this here to zoom in and out. As you can see, I'm zooming this to what is 1 frame each. As you move this along, you can see it's moving 1 frame. All right, the book is also wanting us to look at our settings. So we talked about settings in the timeline before, which is this little wrench here. We're actually going to use the one now in the source. So click that, and we want to display the time ruler numbers. So we're going to come down here, we're going to choose time ruler numbers, and that has put time onto the timeline. As I zoom back out, you can see there are more numbers there. It's basically helping you see your time code. And then it also wants us, as you zoom in, you can use the navigator just below the ruler to maximize your zoom, and that's showing you your individual frames. So we already had zoomed in before and zooming out, but you can see the frames this way. It also wants us to open the source monitor settings again. So we're going to click right here, and it's going to say show audio time units. So that's this one right here. It actually changed this to give us the audio time units. So we were looking at this clip. It was probably down here if it was in 29 or 24 frames per second. That's what we were effectively looking at here before. We were looking at the frame by frame to correlate to how we've been working. However, now that we had chosen our audio time units, this view, notice that this zoomed back out. When we zoom in, you can see great detail to this waveform. And that means one single frame now is equivalent of 44/100ths of a second. And that really gives you a really close look at your waveform. As you can see, this is a good representation. You can see the wave moving up and down. So when it's up or when it's down, that's not necessarily when you want to make a cut to music or something else. You want to make sure you're pretty much flat on this line here at 0. That's one of the best times to cut. You're less likely to have a bump in your transition between one piece of music to the next if that's where you make that cut. Okay, so those are 2 different ways to view stuff in your source window. The book is wanting us to put all this stuff back. So we're going to unclick show audio time units, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to take off the time ruler numbers. So we're back to just our regular frames. But you can still see a lot with the frames. If you want to go further in, you can use the audio time units, and that will give you the 44/100ths of a second. Okay, The next video will cover showing audio waveforms.